What's happening? This is Joshua Boetsi and you're watching Sporting Icons.
So Queensbury, Frank Warren, BT Sport have been trying to make Anthony Yarde a household name, a fan favourite, a pay-per-view fighter, a big ticket seller, a superstar in the world of boxing. And it hasn't been working for some years. It hasn't been working. Boxing fans haven't been falling for a lot of the old tricks, shall we say. And we'll talk about that in a second. But his performance against Artur Beterbiev, there's victory in defeat. And it happens with so many fighters. Victory in defeat. Reason being, you give everything, boxing fans would appreciate it. Win, lose or draw, boxing fans appreciate it and will look at fighters in a certain way afterwards. And suddenly they become must-see TV. Derek Chisora has made pretty much a career out of that. Now, for a long time, as I said, they've been trying to make Anthony Yarde a fan favourite amongst boxing fans. But boxing fans weren't falling for it because you're being told he's the real deal and he's this, that and the other. Okay, well, let's see it. Put him in there against puddings weren't going to prove it. The fact that they skipped the British, the Commonwealth, the European kind of levels, they skipped the whole thing and went straight to world level by fighting puddings. People weren't sold on Anthony Yarde. They weren't. I don't think Tunde really helped the cause, where he was creating a lot of talking points in the press himself. But he gets given an opportunity against Kovalev, which, again, a lot of people feel he didn't earn it because he didn't go through the levels. He didn't go through eliminators and whatever else. People will look at the relationship between Queensbury and the WBO. You say, that's how you got the world title shot. Anyway, so he goes through Russia and he loses every single round, barring one, and gets knocked out, stopped with a jab. Okay? Now, even after then, you have people on Queensbury and BT Sport saying, well, Anthony Yarde, he's proven he's at this level because he had one very good round against Kovalev. One. Boxing fans watching that go, yeah, that was a very good round for him. It was. It was very exciting. We thought that maybe he's going to get him. But what about the rest of the fight? He didn't. So boxing fans go, nah, he's not on that level. You're not selling that to us. He takes on a cab driver or whatever it is afterwards. Again, we know why he fought then, because you have to get a win in order to get into a certain position. Either way, he fights Lyndon Arthur and loses the fight, much like he did with Kovalev, but with a jab. And boxing fans are like, you can't defend against a jab. That's boxing 101. He lost to Lyndon Arthur because Lyndon Arthur used that jab and used it very, very well. In the rematch, for some reason, whatever reason, only known by Lyndon Arthur and Pat Barrett, he abandoned that game plan of using the jab and paid the price for it. Anthony Yarde got the win. Next thing we know, Anthony Yarde is a mandatory challenger for Beterbiev. And people are going, it can only be down to the relationship between Queensbury and the WBO because you haven't earned it. Yet another world title shot. He's going to get battered. He's going to get pummeled. Because the bridge of the gap is so wide, there's only one way this fight's going to go. Now, ultimately, people got it right. He did lose, and he did lose by knockout. But what makes a fighter must-see TV, what makes a fighter a superstar, somebody who boxing fans want to see, it's not about padding out your record. It's about, when you get these opportunities, however you got them, what do you do with it? And Anthony Yarde proved to everybody he's an exciting fighter. And now, okay, he lost, but he put on a brave performance, a very good performance. He hurt Beterbiev. He pushed him back. He gave as good as he got. But Beterbiev, due to his experience as amateur and, of course, high level at pro, that's ultimately what won the fight for Beterbiev. But now people will look at Anthony Yarde going, see, there is victory in defeat. Now we respect you. Now we want to see you again. Because up until that fight, people weren't really saying that about Anthony Yarde. Sorry, Team Yarde, but they weren't. Now they will. Now he is must-see TV. He is. Boxing fans, especially here in the UK, we don't care if you're winning. We care what you do. People were bothered about the fact that he's been skipping the levels. People were bothered about that. But his performance against Beterbiev makes people go, you lost. So what? Who cares? What's next for Anthony Yarde? Who are you going to fight? I'd love to see him in there with Callum Smith. Love to see him in there with Joshua Boazzi. Love to, right? Because of his performance. That's what boxing fans want. So at long last, Queensberry, Frank Warren, Tunde and everybody involved in BT Sport, now you've got that fighter in Anthony Yarde that you've been wanting to have. Now he's must-see TV. Now we want to see what he does next. We don't want to see him. Now don't ruin it. Don't put him in there with a pudding. Don't do it again. A fighter that most people would never heard of, including the hardcore boxing fans. Don't do that, because then you'll ruin what's just happened here. What's just happened here is now he's must-see TV. People will look at him and go, now I want to see him fight Craig Richards. We want to see him fight Dan Aziz. We want to see him fight Callum Smith, Joshua Boazzi, Joe Smith Jr. Okay, there's plenty of fighters in the light heavyweight division. It's a stacked division. Now we want to see it. Now we want to see it. So well done, Anthony Yarde. Frank Warren, Queensberry, BT Sport. Now you've got the guy that you've been wanting to have for quite some time. Now you've finally got him. Now do you realise? Now when you look at the rest of your stable, when you're trying to push down other people down people's throats, oh, this guy's going to be must-see TV. This guy's going to be the next big thing. Okay. Put him in there with someone then. Let's see how they react. That's how you build a superstar. Why do you think Anthony Joshua became a huge superstar? Isn't because he beat Vladimir Klitschko. It's because he put it on Vladimir Klitschko. It's because he got put down himself against Vladimir Klitschko. He got up, he weathered the storm, and ultimately knocked out Vladimir Klitschko. Even if Joshua had lost, he'd have still been a superstar. It's these kind of performances that will do it. Win, lose or draw, it's irrelevant. It's irrelevant. So well done, Anthony Yarde, for showing a hell of a lot of heart. Let's not hold Anthony Yarde back now. As soon as he's fit and able and licensed again, because obviously he's going to be under a suspension now because he got stopped. As soon as he's able to get back in that ring, put him back in that ring with someone that people go, good fight. Keep it going. Drop your thoughts below. Click thumbs up, subscribe. Catch you next video.